I always thought birthdays were supposed to be special. Instead, I'm standing in our kitchen, holding a hastily scrawled note that makes my hands shake. The morning light streams through the window, highlighting the empty coffee cup in the sink, Mom's favorite. The one with little painted daisies around the rim. Kella, honey. Victor and I need a fresh start. There's food in the fridge, and I left some cash in the drawer. You're almost 18 now, old enough to understand. Take care of yourself. Love, Mom. The words blur as I read them again. And again. My phone buzzes, probably Jasper with his annual midnight strike birthday message. I can't look at it. Can't move. The house feels different already, like someone sucked all the air out of it. I drift through the rooms, touching familiar things that suddenly feel foreign. Mom's reading glasses on the side table. Victor's Wall Street Journal from yesterday. Everything exactly where it should be, except them. The cash in the drawer turns out to be $300. $300 for 17 years of being her daughter. I stuff it in my pocket, not sure if I'm more angry or hurt. My phone buzzes again. This time I answer. Happy birthday, sweetheart. Grandma Eloise's voice fills my ear. I'm making your favorite chocolate cake. You're coming over later, right? I swallow hard. Gran, can I come now? There must be something in my voice because she doesn't hesitate. Of course. Is everything okay? No. The word comes out smaller than I meant it to. Mom and Victor are gone. The silence on the other end stretches for 3 heartbeats. I'm coming to get you. Don't move. I can drive. Calla Rose Martinez, you stay right there. I'll be there in 15 minutes. While I wait, I find myself in Mom's room. Her closet is half empty, designer clothes gone but cheaper ones left behind. Like she cherry-picked her new life, leaving the unwanted parts, including me, scattered on the floor. The jewelry box on her dresser catches my eye. Inside, I find the silver locket Dad gave her before he died. She always said she lost it years ago. Another lie to add to the pile. Grandma arrives in 12 minutes, not 15. She takes one look at me and pulls me into a hug that smells like vanilla and safety. When she releases me, her eyes are fierce. Pack a bag, she says. You're staying with me. Gran, I can manage. Pack. Bag. Each word is carefully measured. There's something you need to know, but not here. Not in this house. Something in her tone makes me look up sharply. What do you mean? She picks up the note from the counter, reads it, then crumples it in her fist. Your mother. She starts, then stops herself. Pack first. Talk later. As I throw clothes into a duffel bag, I find another note tucked into my dresser drawer. This one's older, the paper yellowed. It's addressed to me, and I recognize the handwriting from the birthday cards I used to receive. From my father's parents. The grandparents' mom always said wanted nothing to do with me. I stuff the unopened note into my pocket next to the cash. Whatever's in it, whatever Gran needs to tell me, it can wait until we're out of this house that suddenly feels like a museum of lies. In the driveway, Gran takes my bag and fixes me with a look that's part sympathy, part determination. Ready? I glance back at the house one last time. Yeah, I say, though I'm not sure what I'm ready for. Let's go. Gran's kitchen always smells like home. But today the familiar scent of baking bread does nothing to settle my nerves. The unopened letter from my father's parents burns in my pocket as Gran sets a steaming mug of tea in front of me. Your mother, she says carefully, has been keeping things from you. Important things. Before she can continue, the doorbell rings. Gran's expression shifts from concern to something I can't quite read. That would be them. Them. Your other grandparents, Calla. Lionel and Marjorie. My heart stutters. I pull the crumpled letter from my pocket, suddenly understanding why Gran insisted we come straight here. The elderly couple that walks into the kitchen looks exactly like the photos Mom told me were just old family friends. Marjorie reaches for me, then stops herself. Oh, sweetheart. You look just like James. Dad. She means Dad. The room spins a little. We've been trying to reach you for years, Lionel says, his voice rough. Every birthday, every Christmas. Mom said you didn't want. The words die in my throat as Gran places a stack of envelopes on the table. Dozens of them, all addressed to me, all in the same handwriting as the letter in my hands. Found these in Serafina's closet last month when I was helping her organize, Gran says quietly. I've been trying to figure out how to tell you. My fingers trace the return address on the nearest envelope. Why would she? Money, Lionel says flatly. Your father left you everything. The house, his investments, a trust fund for college. Serafina was supposed to be the trustee until you turned 18, but Victor convinced her to use it differently. Marjorie finishes, her gentle tone at odds with the steel in her eyes. The room goes very still. I think about the designer clothes missing from Mom's closet, Victor's new car, the vacations they took without me. How much? Nearly all of it, Lionel says. We've been watching through our lawyer, but couldn't do anything without proof of mismanagement. Now that they've abandoned you. My phone buzzes. Jasper again. I silence it, my hand shaking. Our house, was Dad's. Gran nods. In your name. They've been living there rent-free, using your money to what? Finance their fresh start. The bitterness in my voice surprises even me. I finally open the letter from my pocket, the paper soft from years of handling. Inside, there's a photo of Dad holding me as a baby, his smile so much like mine it hurts. We have a room ready, Marjorie says softly. At our house. If you want it. No pressure, but... She's staying with me, Gran interrupts, then softens. For now. Until we sort this out. My phone buzzes again. This time it's a text from an unknown number. Happy birthday, sweetie. The house is yours now. Do what you want with it. Just don't try to find us. Mom. I show them the message. Lionel's face darkens, but Marjorie reaches across the table and takes my hand. We can help you fight this, Calla. If you want. Fight. The word tastes strange in my mouth. For your inheritance. Your future. Everything they took. I look at the photo of Dad again, then at the pile of unopened letters, years of attempted connection stolen from me. The anger that bubbles up isn't hot like I expected. It's cold, clarifying. Yes, I say, surprising myself with how steady my voice sounds. I want to fight. Gran squeezes my shoulder. Then we'll fight. Together. I nod, already thinking about the house, my house, and everything else they tried to take. Mom and Victor wanted a fresh start? Fine. But they're about to learn that fresh starts come with a price. The key feels heavier than it should as I unlock the front door of my house, Dad's house. My house. Jasper stands behind me, his presence steady and familiar in a world that keeps shifting under my feet. You don't have to do this today, he says. But I do. It's been 3 days since Mom's text and I need answers. The house is exactly as we left it, except for the thin layer of dust that's settled over everything. I head straight for Victor's home office, the one room that was always off limits. Help me look, I tell Jasper, pulling open the first drawer of Victor's desk. Bank statements, letters, anything that might. Kaya. Jasper's voice stops me. He's standing by the bookshelf, holding something that glints in the afternoon light. A key, small and golden, hanging from a leather cord I recognize from Mom's jewelry box. Where did you find that? Behind these books. He pulls out a volume, revealing a hollow space. There's more. The space contains a stack of papers and a small notebook. My hands shake as I open it, recognizing Mom's handwriting. Dates, amounts, account numbers. Years of transactions, all carefully documented in her neat script. She knew, I whisper. She kept track of everything they took. Jasper reads over my shoulder. Look at these amounts. They weren't just using your trust fund for living expenses. They were. Gambling. The word tastes bitter. I recognize the names of casinos, online betting sites. Victor was gambling with my inheritance. A floorboard creaks behind us. I spin around to find Gran in the doorway, her face grim. I thought I might find you here. Did you know? I hold up the notebook. About the gambling? She shakes her head. Not everything. But I suspected Victor had other motives for marrying your mother. The way he pushed her to move into this house, to take control of your trust. Why didn't you say anything? Would you have believed me? Her voice is gentle. Your mother was so convinced he was saving her. Saving both of you. And then I found those letters. My phone buzzes. Another unknown number, but I know who it is before I answer. The house better be exactly as we left it. Victor's voice cold and controlled. Your mother's worried sick about you, by the way. Though I told her you're old enough to handle yourself now. Like you handled my trust fund? The words slip out before I can stop them. The silence that follows is deadly. What did you say? I found Mom's notebook. The gambling debts, the... Listen carefully, he cuts me off. Your mother made certain choices to protect you. To give you a better life. If you push this, if you try to come after us legally, those choices might come back to haunt her. Do you understand what I'm saying? I think about Mom's careful documentation, years of tracking every dollar they took. Was she protecting herself or gathering evidence? Perfectly, I say and hang up. Jasper touches my arm. What are you thinking? I look at Gran, then back at the notebook in my hands. I'm thinking Mom left me more than just a house. She left me a weapon. Calla, Gran starts, but I cut her off. He threatened her. Just now on the phone. Whatever hold he has on her. I flip through the notebook's pages, seeing the story they tell. She knew this day might come. She kept records. Evidence. It's not just about the money anymore, is it? Jasper asks quietly. I shake my head, thinking of Mom's handwriting, each careful entry a cry for help I never heard. No. Now it's about setting her free. The afternoon sun slants through the office window, illuminating the dust motes in the air. Somewhere out there, my mother is living with the choices she made. But I'm done living with them. We need a lawyer, I tell Gran. And then we need to find them. The lawyer's office feels too small, too warm. Mr. Patterson spreads Mom's notebook and other documents across his mahogany desk, his expression growing darker with each page he turns. Your mother was thorough, he says finally. These records show a clear pattern of misappropriation. But hangs in the air like smoke. Lionel shifts in his chair beside me. What aren't you telling us? Patterson slides a document forward. This was filed 3 years ago. Your mother gave Victor power of attorney over all your accounts. She signed everything over to him. Legally. The room tilts sideways. She what? There's more. He pulls out another paper. The house was transferred into their joint names last year. Your name isn't on any of it anymore. Marjorie's hand finds mine under the desk. I pull away, standing up so quickly my chair scrapes against the floor. That's impossible. Dad left everything to me. And your mother had legal authority to transfer it all. Patterson's voice is gentle. The question is why? My phone buzzes. A text from Jasper. Found something at the house. Come quick. I have to go, I say, already moving toward the door. Keep looking. There has to be something we can use. 20 minutes later, I'm back in Victor's office. Jasper stands at the desk, holding a USB drive. It was taped under the drawer. Look at this. He plugs it into his laptop. Video files pop up, dozens of them. Security camera footage. The first one shows Mom in Victor's office, tears streaming down her face as she signs papers. Sign it, Serafina. Victor's voice is soft, reasonable. Unless you want the police to know about Phoenix. Mom's hand shakes. Please, Victor. She's just a child. A child who deserves to know what kind of person her mother really is, don't you think? What's Phoenix? Jasper types it into the search bar. More files appear, newspaper clippings, police reports. My breath catches as I read the headlines. A fire, I whisper. At Dad's office. The night he died. Gaya. Jasper starts, but I'm already reading. The investigation ruled it accidental. But these documents, hidden copies of insurance papers, emails between Mom and someone named Marcus, tell a different story. Dad's life insurance policy, doubled just weeks before. Mom's desperate texts about needing money for medical bills, my medical bills from when I was sick as a kid. She did it, I say, my voice hollow. She needed the money and Victor must have found out. Jasper's voice is careful, measured. That's how he controls her. My phone rings. Gran's number. They found them, she says without preamble. Your mother and Victor. They're in Vegas. Of course they are. Where else would a gambling addict go? There's something else, Gran continues. Victor's been making withdrawals. Large ones. If they haven't already burned through what's left. I look at the frozen video frame of my mother's tear-stained face, then at the evidence of her greatest sin. The sin she committed for me. I'm going to Vegas, I say. Kaya, no. They took everything, Gran. And now I know why. My voice sounds strange, distant. Mom's not Victor's victim. She's his accomplice. And it's time they both faced what they've done. Jasper closes his laptop. I'm coming with you. No. I grab the USB drive. I need you to take this to Patterson. Make copies. If anything happens, nothing's going to happen. But we both know that's not true. Because now I understand, really understand, what people will do when they're desperate. What I might do myself. Vegas it is, I say, already planning my next move. Time to call their bluff. The Bellagio's lobby sparkles with artificial brightness, a stark contrast to the darkness I feel inside. I spot them immediately, Mom and Victor at the high-stakes poker table, her hand on his shoulder like everything's normal. Like she didn't help kill Dad. I adjust the USB drive in my pocket, remembering Patterson's words. Be careful. Evidence of criminal conspiracy works both ways. Victor sees me first. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. Well, if it isn't our runaway daughter. Kaya. Mom stands, wobbling slightly. The diamonds at her throat, Dad's diamonds, catch the light. Baby, what are you doing here? Phoenix, I say quietly. The color drains from her face. Victor's hand tightens around his cards. Ring any bells? Let's take this somewhere private, Victor suggests, his voice honey smooth. He leads us to a quiet corner of the hotel bar, ordering drinks like we're just a family having a chat. How much do you want? He asks once we're seated. Want? To keep quiet. About Phoenix, about the money, all of it. Name your price. Mom's hands shake as she reaches for me. Honey, you don't understand. What happened with your father? You mean how you burned down his office for the insurance money? The words taste like poison. While I was in the hospital. While he was working late. I didn't know he was there. The words burst from her like she's been holding them for years. It was supposed to be empty. Marcus promised. Serafina. Victor's warning is soft but clear. I pull out my phone, playing the video of Mom signing away my inheritance. Her face crumples as she watches herself cave to Victor's blackmail. You kept evidence, she whispers. All this time. Like mother, like daughter. I meet Victor's gaze. Except my insurance policy is digital. Copies everywhere. One click and it all goes public. The fire, the fraud, the gambling. Victor's smile turns predatory. You'd send your own mother to prison? You would know all about using family against each other, wouldn't you? Mom stands suddenly, swaying. I need air. Sit down, Victor snaps, but she's already walking away, unsteady on her designer heels. He turns back to me. You have no idea what you're playing with, little girl. Actually, I do. I stand too. Dad's life. My inheritance. Mom's freedom. Isn't that what you've been playing with all along? A security guard approaches our table. Mr. Reynolds, there's a situation with your wife. Victor's face darkens. He follows the guard, leaving me alone with my racing heart and trembling hands. My phone buzzes, Jasper. Patterson found something else, he says without greeting. About the fire. There was a second insurance policy in Victor's name, taken out 3 days before. The pieces click together just as screaming erupts from the direction of the hotel's rooftop bar. I run, following the sound, my heart pounding against my ribs. The elevator feels impossibly slow. I burst onto the roof to find Mom standing at the edge, her arms spread wide, Victor trying to talk her down. The wind whips her hair around her face, and for a moment, she looks young again, like the mom I remember from before Dad died, before Victor, before everything went wrong. Mom! My voice cracks. Please. She turns, tears streaming down her face. I never meant for him to be there, Calla. I swear. But Victor. He knew. He planned. Serafina, don't. Victor's voice holds real fear now. Mom looks at me, then at Victor, then back to the glittering Vegas lights below. I'm so sorry, baby. For everything. She takes a step backward toward the edge, and suddenly I realize that revenge isn't what I wanted at all. Everything happens in slow motion. I lunge forward as Mom steps back, my fingers barely grazing her sleeve. Security guards burst through the door. Victor shouts something I can't hear over the roaring in my ears. Then Mom stumbles, not backward toward the edge, but forward into my arms, collapsing like a puppet with cut strings. She's been drinking, Victor says quickly to the guards. And she took some pills. Shut up. My voice doesn't sound like my own. I cradle Mom's head in my lap as she shivers. Someone call an ambulance. No hospitals, Victor snaps. This is a private matter. Private like Dad's death? The words explode from me. Like the second insurance policy you took out before the fire? Victor goes very still. Mom's eyes flutter open, focusing on him with sudden clarity. What? What second policy? He knew Dad would be working late. I say, watching Victor's facade crack. Didn't he, Mom? That's what you were trying to tell me. The security guards exchange glances, one speaking quietly into his radio. Victor takes a step toward the door, but 2 more guards appear, blocking his exit. I trusted you, Mom whispers, her voice raw. After the fire, when you said you'd protect me. I protected you from prison, Victor snarls. From the truth coming out about what you did. What you made her do. My hands shake as I pull out my phone, showing the video evidence. You needed her desperate enough to sign everything over. To keep quiet when you gambled away my inheritance. Mom struggles to sit up. The pills. In my drink. Mrs. Reynolds needs medical attention, a guard says firmly. And sir, I need you to stay right there. Victor's composure shatters. He lunges, not for the door, but for me. For my phone. I scramble backward, Mom still half in my lap, as he crashes into us. We all go down in a tangle of limbs and screams. My head cracks against the concrete. Through blurring vision, I see Victor wrestling with the guards, Mom crawling toward the edge again. This time when I reach for her, my fingers close around empty air. But she doesn't jump. She pulls herself up using the railing, swaying but determined. "You killed him," she says to Victor. "You killed James, and then you made me think it was my fault." The elevator dings. Patterson emerges with 2 police officers, holding papers I recognize from the USB drive. "Victor Reynolds, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, insurance fraud." I don't hear the rest. The adrenaline drains away, leaving me empty. Mom collapses again, this time into the arms of a paramedic. As they load her onto a stretcher, she reaches for my hand. "I'm sorry," she mouths, her eyes already closing. "So sorry." I watch them wheel her away, watch the police cuff Victor, watch my whole world implode for the second time in a week. My phone buzzes, Jasper again, probably wondering if I'm okay. I'm not. I don't know if I'll ever be okay again. "Miss Martinez?" One of the officers approaches. "We'll need your statement." I look past him, out over the Vegas lights that suddenly seem harsh and artificial. Somewhere in those lights, my inheritance is scattered like ashes. Somewhere in those lights, the truth about Dad's death festered for years while I blamed the wrong person. "Yeah," I say, my voice hollow. "I have a statement. I have lots of statements." But as I follow him toward the elevator, I realize revenge doesn't taste like victory. It tastes like blood in my mouth and tears on my face, and the bitter knowledge that sometimes there are no winners, only survivors. The hospital corridor stretches endlessly before me as I make my way to Mom's room. 3 weeks since Vegas. 3 weeks since Victor's arrest. 3 weeks of avoiding this moment. Jasper squeezes my hand. "Want me to come in?" I shake my head. Through the window, I can see Mom sitting up in bed, looking smaller without her designer clothes and perfect makeup. The doctors say the drugs Victor gave her did some damage, but she'll recover. Physically, at least. "I'll wait here," Jasper says. Inside, Mom's reading a magazine, one of those glossy things she used to love. She puts it down when I enter, her hands trembling slightly. "The police found most of the money," I say, breaking the silence. "What Victor hadn't gambled away. They're returning it to the estate." "Gaya." "Dad's insurance policy, too. The original one, I mean. Not the one Victor took out." She flinches. "I didn't know about the second policy." "You have to believe." "I do." The words surprise us both. "That's not why I'm here." I pull out Dad's letter, the one I found in Victor's office. The one dated the day of the fire. Mom's face crumples when she sees the handwriting. "He knew," I say quietly. "About the medical bills, about how desperate you were. He was working late that night because he was arranging to liquidate his company's shares. To pay for my treatments." Mom covers her mouth, tears spilling down her cheeks. "James, Victor found out somehow. That's why he approached you after the fire, isn't it? Because he knew you'd blame yourself when Dad died trying to save those documents." "I never meant," she chokes on the words. "Victor said he could protect me, protect you. But he just wanted the money, and I was too afraid to see it." I sit on the edge of her bed, feeling the weight of all our shared grief. "Gran told me something yesterday. About karma, and how sometimes it looks like revenge, but really it's just truth finding its way to the surface." "Are you?" She swallows hard. "Are you pressing charges?" "No." I meet her eyes. "But I'm not pretending anymore either. About any of it." She nods slowly, understanding what I'm not saying. "That forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. That love doesn't erase consequences. Your father would be proud of you," she whispers, "for being stronger than both of us." I'm not stronger. I search for the right words. More honest, maybe. About what matters. Through the window, I see Jasper talking with Gran and my paternal grandparents, who've become regular fixtures in my life. They're all holding coffee cups, sharing some joke that makes Gran throw back her head laughing. "They're your family too," I tell Mom. "If you want them to be. After rehab, I mean." She touches the letter in my hands. "Do you think? Could I read it?" I hesitate, then hand it over. As she reads Dad's last words, I watch her face transform with grief and understanding and something that might be hope. "I'd like to try," she says finally. "To be better. To be worthy of." She gestures at the window, at the family waiting outside. I stand, smoothing my skirt. That's all any of us can do, right? Try to be worthy of the people who love us. As I turn to leave, she calls out softly, "Gaya, thank you for choosing truth over revenge." I pause at the door, thinking of all the ways revenge can disguise itself as justice, and all the ways truth can heal what revenge would only break. "Yeah," I say. "Me too." 6 months later, I stand in front of Dad's old office building, now renovated and ready for its new purpose. The sign reads James Martinez Youth Support Center in clean, simple letters. Behind me, a small crowd gathers for the opening ceremony. He would have loved this, Marjorie says, adjusting the ribbon we're about to cut. Using the inheritance to help other kids facing medical debt. I spot Mom at the edge of the crowd, looking healthier after completing rehab. She catches my eye and gives a small wave, not presuming to come closer. We're still finding our way back to each other, one careful step at a time. Jasper appears with the scissors. Ready? Wait! I pull out the letter, Dad's last letter, from my pocket. I've read it so many times the creases are soft as fabric. I want to read something first. The crowd quiets as I unfold the paper. My dearest Calla, I begin, my voice steady. By the time you read this, I'll have secured the funds for your treatment. No child should have to worry about money when they're fighting to survive. No parent should have to choose between saving their child and saving their soul. I pause, looking at Mom. Her eyes shine with tears, but she stands straight, accepting the weight of those words. Whatever happens, I continue, remember that true wealth isn't in bank accounts or property deeds. It's in the choices we make when everything seems lost. Choose compassion over revenge, understanding over anger. Choose to break cycles instead of perpetuating them. Lionel squeezes my shoulder. In the crowd, I see Gran dabbing her eyes with a tissue. You are my greatest legacy, Calla. Not my money or my business, but your heart, your resilience, your capacity for forgiveness. The last word catches in my throat. I fold the letter, tucking it away as Jasper hands me the scissors. Dad wrote that the night of the fire, I tell the crowd. He never got to give me the letter, but he gave me something better. He showed me what it means to turn pain into purpose. I cut the ribbon. Applause breaks out, but I barely hear it. I'm watching Mom slip away from the crowd, heading toward her car. Go, Gran whispers. Some cycles need to end with a beginning. I catch up to Mom in the parking lot. You don't have to leave. She turns, surprise flickering across her face. I thought, after everything, Dad was right, I say. About breaking cycles. About choices. I hold out my hand. Stay. Help me run the center. Show other families there's a way out besides desperation. She stares at my outstretched hand like it might burn her. How can you still want me in your life? Because you kept track, I say simply. All those years, you documented everything Victor did. Part of you was always fighting back, trying to protect me in your own way. I should have fought harder. We both should have done a lot of things differently. I keep my hand extended, but Dad also wrote about second chances. About choosing what happens next. Slowly, hesitantly, she takes my hand. Behind us, people are filing into the center, carrying hopes and fears as heavy as the ones we once carried. Maybe still carry. What happens next? She asks softly. I think about revenge, about justice, about how sometimes they're the same thing and sometimes they're opposites. I think about Dad's letter, about cycles breaking and healing beginning. We help people, I say, and we remember that the best revenge against darkness is creating light. Together, we walk back toward the center, toward whatever comes next, carrying our scars like medals of survival and our hope like a torch to light the way forward.